Hey, it's Lindsay, y'all. So today, I realized it's been over a week since my last video, and that's criminal, and I apologize. So I wasn't really sure what to talk about today. My first thought was it is Trans Awareness Week, and maybe I should do something that ties into that. But I think you all kind of know, like, every week is Trans Awareness Week for me. If you've seen my videos, I'm pretty open about my transness, especially with the people around me. Like, I don't necessarily want to walk into Target wearing a t-shirt that's just a trans flag. That's not really my style. And I have full respect for those who do that. Absolutely. I know some who do. But I guess just normalizing trans experience is a part of my life and something that I'm already passionate about. So you know this about me. But just to touch on it a little bit, that's what Trans Awareness Week is about. It actually ties in with Trans Day of Remembrance, which is this coming Friday, November 20th. And Trans Day of Remembrance is a day where we remember and recognize the trans people who have lost their lives to violence because they were trans. There's far too many of them. And I've only known I was trans for a little over a year. I've only accepted it. And it feels, I love my trans community, but I don't necessarily feel like I can adequately represent that. I don't feel justified in trying to speak on behalf of the community in that regard. Just, I can say for me, it, I feel it. And I know that, like, I'm potentially not that far from being one of those people. I live in a red state in the US. I live in a liberal city, but I live in a red state. But there are a lot of events and live streams and things going on. If you can't check with your local LGBTQ groups, look online for things like see what GLAD or PFLAG are talking about. I'm sure there's some information on. I'm just gonna throw this out there, and I'm probably gonna feel dumb about it. But trans equality, I'm sure they've got something going on there. But definitely check it out. So that was what I was originally thinking. And then I sought out some guidance from a dear friend. And I was like, hey, give me a topic. Give me something to talk about. And so while it's not exactly tying into what I was just saying, I think it's still, I don't know. I hope it's still empowering, and I hope it comes across as being a bright ray of sunshine, as my friend says. So this video is a little different in that, as opposed to being more directed to a general audience, or maybe like non-trans folks or people who just want to know more about trans things, like, this is going to be directed more towards my trans siblings. So yeah, maybe some affirmations, and hopefully, if you're struggling and you're feeling invalid, I hope I can help with that. Because we all struggle. Every trans person out there struggles in some way. And I would love to say that it goes away. And I haven't been at this long. I suspect it doesn't completely go away ever. Not with the way the world is, and the way this country is, and society, and the way we're viewed. And it's hard. But we're not alone. You don't have to feel alone. The community is out there. And I hope if you haven't connected with somebody in the community, regardless of where you are in your journey, like, reach out. I have a friend. I, I hesitate to call her a trans mentor, but she has been a really powerful, positive influence in my life. So maybe that is what she is. But she always says no one can do this alone. And she actually leads a local support group here, a trans support group. But nobody can do this alone. And you're not alone. And I know it sucks to be, if you are in the closet and you have your reasons for that. Coming out is scary. And in some cases, it's just not safe or it's not practical. There's so many reasons why it may take time for you to get to that place. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're invalid. It doesn't make you less trans. You're valid. You matter. It's what I'm trying to say. I'm struggling to get the words out, but I was an egg for a long time. Like, obviously, I have signs that go back to when I was at least 10 years old, and I'm sure younger, indicating that, maybe I was a little different. And I definitely can look back and see those things and say, like, yeah, that was not cisgender behavior. That was not what a typical little boy would be doing or thinking. And just not what a cisgender person would be thinking. And it was maybe like 15 years ago, and I'm totally guesstimating on this, that I probably first had suspicions that I was trans. But the information wasn't as readily available. And like, I grew up in a rural area, so that limited things too. So media was not kind to us back then. Still not in a lot of ways, but it's getting better. So for 15 years, I denied myself who I was. I told myself I wasn't trans, or I wasn't trans enough. I thought all of transition was related to surgeries. And if you were trans, you had to have all these surgeries. Well, that's not true, actually. You number one, you don't have to transition at all if you're trans, and that's valid, and that's okay. But number two, transition can take so many different forms. You can transition socially without doing anything medically. You can do medical transition and in the form of hormones and never get a surgery. And that's totally valid to be non-op. Some people can't take hormones and their only options for medical transition are surgical. And that is valid as well. As I've said before, maybe not on a video, but I've said it to people, there are as many ways to be trans as there are trans people. And no one can tell you that you are or are not trans. Only you can do that. And if you say you're trans, you are trans, and I believe you. And I love you. And I want you to find your happiness and your truth. Whatever that is, whatever that path looks like. So 15 years repressed and denying who I was, like, buried this shit down, like buried memories and repressed memories, like all of that. The mind is powerful. And it was last August, I cracked. I realized who I was. And honestly, like for me, I accepted it pretty readily at that point because I started to remember those repressed memories and that history. And that's my story. You may be different. You may be questioning openly for a long time. And even when you think, okay, I am trans, you may struggle with it. And that's okay too. So I realized who I was. And it, some people, they will start transitioning right away. And some people, like I said, won't transition. Some people take a long time. Well, I have no chill. I have no patience. And I started my medical transition less than 3 months later, like 2.5 months later, I started hormones. And so I lived the double life of, knowing that I was trans, knowing that I was Lindsay, um, knowing that I was a woman named Lindsay, not a guy named dead name, that I'm not going to say here. I knew all that. Um, and so I lived that for about 9 months. And I recognize my privilege a little bit here. You know, I'm white and I have a good job, and I had support from lots of friends, and I had a supportive workplace. And so, again, the no chill, no patience thing. After 9 months, I came out everywhere. And it was really nice to have that. But not everybody is that lucky, and I recognize that. Um, and that's okay. I talk to a lot of trans people online. I'm in a community that's exclusively trans people, and we get a lot of like new people come in and be like, they just realized it. And like I said, I'm still real new at this, honestly. I'm still baby trans in a lot of ways, but maybe that makes it better because it's very fresh for me. It hasn't been that long ago, and I know what those feelings are like. Even if I don't know your exact experience, I know what it was like for me, the emotional turmoil and the terror mixed with the unbridled joy, all of that. The joys of self-discovery and exploring who you are for the first time in your life. That first time you feel connected with your body after decades of just not giving a shit. It's amazing. And it's special. It's special. And I hope you know that. There are so many people in your life that will be proud of you, and they're going to call you brave. Just accept that now. It is what it is. It kind of irks me. I don't want to say irks me. I don't know. It feels cliche. It feels a little cheesy. And like I've said in previous videos, I don't think I'm brave. I think I just did what I had to do to survive. But where is it going with that? Lost that train of thought. And I didn't take a note for this. So I get for going freestyle. Anyway. Yeah. No, you're valid though. If I can't say any one thing too much, it is that you are valid. You are loved. I know where I was going. All those people around you. And there's a very good chance that you may not know any trans people besides yourself. Or you may only know a few, or hell, you may know a bunch. I don't know. But I think for most people, I didn't know anybody who was openly trans before I started connecting with the community after I realized I was trans. So So you got a lot of people around you who are going to be cis, and they're hopefully going to be supportive and loving and accepting. And they will try to understand. And some of them may have had experiences, especially if they are LGBTQ identified themselves. They may have similar experiences, especially with coming out and coming to terms with their identity. But none of them can really fully understand what it is to come to terms with your identity as trans. Like, it's a little over a year at this point, and I still have these moments where I sit up in bed and it just wows me a little. I'm like, oh my God, I am trans. I am that. I am what I thought I could never be. And I'm doing this thing that I never thought I could do. And it's not just okay, it's amazing. It's fulfilling and it's affirming. I'm trans and I'm a woman and I'm transitioning. Holy shit. It's, and they won't get it. Not really, not completely. But I do. And millions of other people do. We're still a tiny minority, but we're out there, and most of us are supportive. Like any group, you're going to have like infighting in politics and differing views and internal gatekeeping and shit like that. But by and large, I have found love and support from this community. And there's so much inspiration out there, like especially on YouTube. Regardless of your age, there are more and more people across the board who are sharing their experiences. That has always been huge for me. Even in the years that I was repressed and denying, I was seeing that content and it was having an effect on me. And eventually, obviously, it eventually got me where I needed to be. But I don't know. In the meantime, it sustained me. It sustained feeling like I'm not alone. Feeling like I'm not just some curiosity or an oddity or a freak or a pervert or all the things that society has told us we are. We're not any of those things. We're people, first and foremost. We deserve love and compassion and to feel good about ourselves just like everybody else does. I forget that sometimes. I say mean things to myself in the mirror sometimes because I struggle. I have anxiety and depression and bipolar disorder. And then on top of that, I have gender dysphoria that likes to commingle with all of those. And it doesn't do good things for my self-worth. And I've got some self-worth things coming off my last relationship too. And that affects things too. Like, it all plays in and tries to make me feel bad. But then I think about the good things. I think about, like, even though I looked in the mirror last night and as I was getting ready to go to bed, and I don't know, what I saw didn't look good to me. And it triggered that dysphoria and the depression, and it kept me up for hours past when I was trying to go to sleep. But then today, I'm looking into this camera and I'm looking just past it at my monitor, and I see myself. And I feel good. And I feel beautiful and valid. And it's amazing. This is not a feeling I felt before a year ago. So, regardless of your circumstances and where you are in your journey right now, know that you're not alone. Know that you are loved. And know that there is hope and there is a future. And that it can be pretty damn good. Like I said, I'm just getting started. I'm this excited after a year. Like, check this channel again next year or the year after that or the year after that. Because I'm going to be flying, baby. Like, one of the people I've mentioned here before, like, when I really just need to know, like, it's going to be great, is Bunny Bennett. And I have her channel is linked on my page. I like to go back and watch her first video from day one and then look at her now. And she glows. She is a glorious, vibrant woman. And it's pretty awesome to see. Claire Michelle is another one that I enjoy seeing. Kate Madden is another one, lesser known, I think, but she's somebody who I first saw on Reddit and started following her YouTube videos. And these are all people that are linked in my page. And, there are a few others that I do like to go back to every now and then. But some of them are a little bit younger and I don't relate as much. But yeah. Anyway, I hope, honestly, like I don't do any of this for vanity, but I genuinely hope that somebody sees this video and looks at it the way that I did to all of those other people who came before. I hope it gives you strength. I hope it gives you hope. I hope it just makes you realize that you're going to be okay. You're going to be better than okay. You are going to thrive. That's all I got for now. Just as per usual. Love and hugs.